Message is for men, preferably my brothers, black men. I want to talk about grief, something that most men either don't deal with or we don't know how to deal with it. And the reason why I'm thinking about this, I had a thought yesterday, and if you know anything about grief, it's spontaneous. There's no timing to it. You can be having a great day, and all of a sudden, you start to feel this either sickness or this loss or this pain. And as men, we've been taught to tough it out, put it to the side, put it in a different compartment. You got to be tough. You got to keep going. But yesterday, I had this thought, and maybe it's just me, but I'm trying to help somebody while I'm trying to help myself. What if those places you put stuff in, the pain and the guilt and the hurt, and when grandmama died, when the aunt died, when your mom died, when your dad died, what happens when those places become full and you have nowhere else to put it? And as men, we don't know how to deal with it, so it comes out a lot of times the wrong time, painful ways. We turn to different things we're not supposed to. We do things because we're hurt. We have pain. We don't know how to say it. So how are you dealing with your grief? And then what I had to do, I had to trace back all those years where the first time I dealt with loss and I didn't know what to do with it. I was a young kid, probably middle school, had a younger cousin named Keith, and I used to go over his house during the summertime, and I grew up an only child, so I would look forward to going and visiting my aunt and my cousin Keith and Kevin for the summer, because I grew up in apartments and stuff like that, but going to visit them got me away from the city. So I would go see them every summer, and me and Keith, I always looked at him like my little brother. So one summer, they was playing outside on a dirt road, and there was a young lady down the street. They say she, borrowed her parents' cars, wasn't supposed to be driving. And they said Keith and all the kids were playing in the street, and my cousin got hit. She hit my cousin. Now he was in the hospital. And I remember that night like it was yesterday, because my dad said, your cousin got hit by a car. He's in the hospital, but we're going to wait to go see him in the morning. That's why I always tell people, if something happens to a family member, don't wait, because you don't know if you're going to have another chance. That morning, I was awakened to my dad crying, bawling like a baby. And that was the first time I ever seen my dad cry. My cousin didn't make it. So I never got to say goodbye to my little cousin. And that's where my first experience with grief happened. I never knew how to deal with it. So I want you to think about all those years. I was maybe in the 7th grade. Now I'm well in my 50s, and everything else just piled on to that. And a lot of us, we don't know how to deal with it. And I went back to my cousin Keith. I would never forget it. I would never forget him. That was my first time he was in elementary school, taken away from us. And to go down there and see his mama, his daddy, his brother, my grandmother, my aunts, my cousins, we had to lay him in a casket and say goodbye. So however you're dealing with your grief, figure out how to deal with it, because your family needs you to be here. They're counting on you.